The idea of world peace through a global love of humanity. Chapter 1. The ideas of globalism, world citizenry, and human unity. We are the world, we are the people. If there are social engineering elitists ruling everything secretly, you would think they want war because it makes them money, makes people weak by promoting divisiveness and fear, and keeps people away from think about their miseries so they won't revolt against their masters. Another school says globalism is good because it endorses human agreement, wholeness, and a healthy environment. Make everybody think they're a part of united human race without nations, national borders, or cultures. That's a hard nut to crack if you're dealing with some cultures that think it's them as the chosen people versus everybody else. I'm talking about two Middle East cultures in particular. The Jews and Muslims each think they're it. That's it. They each think the world will be peaceful when we eliminate all the people who are not part of our group. Christians, Buddhists, and Hindus do their religion in a corner for an hour or two, then live normal lives. The problem is with the zealot cultures who think we're the superior humans and everyone else must die. You would have to constantly brainwash the crap out of these people through the mass media for them to realize we're all just a bunch of fallible human beings stuck on this planet. I've seen both Jewish schools and Muslim schools. The brainwash is massive. They tell them you're the superior, chosen people and everyone else is a heretic, a pagan, an infidel, Amalek, a Gentile and Edom. The globalists have done a good job so far making most of the people think we're all united human beings trying to make money to buy gadgets, listen to pop music, play video games and tap into social media. Is a declaration of human unity good or bad? They're trying to mix everybody like New York City. To me, NYC doesn't look like a human utopia. It looks like a dystopia of fear where people tolerate each other because they have to. It's not the one culture city it was 50 years ago or so when people felt good about being Americans. They're pushing Kumbaya as the answer. Everybody united together. It's a small world after all was the title of a Disney song I sang in school in grade 5. In truth, there are a lot of poor, desperate, scummy evil people in the world who are jealous of others and want their stuff. You can't just say we're all humanity and love each other unless you plan to share your stuff with them. The globalist movement wants unity as human beings beyond all our differences. The only way I can see it happen is with a world population of about 1 billion people so everyone can afford a house and a car. There are too many people for the resources we have, which makes us a bunch of pigs, just like that overcrowding rat experiment called John B. Calhoun's Universe 25 Rodent Experiments. ifl-25-the-mouse-utopia-the-hyphen-into-and-apocalypse-60407 PMC right parenthesis. The real problem is that everybody wants to make money, and if that means exploiting humanity and planet, it's okay as long as the individual gets to live a good life. That's the story of human life. Get what I can for me. If the world is screwed outside my doors, that's their problem. They even predicted a universal demise of humanity in the Bible. 2 Timothy 3. But mark this, there will be terrible times in the last days. 2 people will be lovers of themselves, lovers of money, boastful, proud, abusive, disobedient to their parents, ungrateful, unholy. 3 without love, unforgiving, slanderous, without self-control, brutal, not lovers of the good. 4 treacherous, rash, conceited, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God. 5 having a form of godliness but denying its power. Have nothing to do with such people. 6 they are the kind who worm their way into homes and gain control over gullible women, who are loaded down with sins and are swayed by all kinds of evil desires. 7 always learning but never able to come to a knowledge of the truth. 8 just as Jannes and Jambres opposed Moses, so also these teachers oppose the truth. They are men of depraved minds, who, as far as the faith is concerned, are rejected. 9 but they will not get very far because, as in the case of those men, their folly will be clear to everyone. Daniel Boone left Pennsylvania to go to Kentucky because there were too many people flooding in. Will the floodgates of people coming on the scene ever end? Can human beings stop being selfish and greedy? This is why ideas of utopias and communes fail. Somebody is always sleeping with somebody's wife and stealing stuff. That's why those songs I sang in school about world unity mean nothing, because every group wants more stuff at the expense of others. The people over here are always going to think we're better than the people over there. I was brought up on the Montreal Canadiens versus the Boston Bruins. It's supposedly in good fun, but it's tribalism. Are we ready to get rid of the national flags at the Olympic Games? What gets me is that everybody is harping on economic development, a constant expansion, while at the same time we supposedly have global warming, which is supposedly going to destroy the planet. The simplest way to stop global warming is to stop constantly building new junk, new houses, new ships, etc. I look at Samuel Clemens, aka Mark Twain, spending his time protesting the American-Spanish War. He didn't change anything. He should have spent his days enjoying his life. You can't change the elitist machine that runs everything. They're the people who control the money, the people who run the banks. Governments are subservient to them. The World Economic Forum is an example of elitists telling everybody what to do. One human race united. The idea is that all humans are good at heart. In Catholic school, the first thing they told me is that Eve disobeyed God and Cain killed Abel. We're bad by nature. We can only be redeemed by accepting Jesus as our Savior and trying to be good, righteous people. Can anybody trust another human being? There are always individuals and small groups of individuals trying to scam and dominate everyone else. Right now, we think either God created us or the Anunnaki did, as Zecharia Sitchin said in his book The 12th Planet. We were created genetically. Why not improve us genetically? I don't think humans, as we are now, can live in a peaceful world of consensus where we can discuss and argue but at the end, agree on some level. Somebody thinks they're always right and everyone else is wrong. Dante called it pride. That's the folly of the human race. Instagram is full of people thinking they're special enough to post their trivial things up that others are interested in, rather than quietly striving to live decent, meaningful lives. They used to call San Francisco a utopian sanctuary. It's now a cesspool of drug-addicted homeless bums. As long as we have lazy people and criminals trying to live off the wealth of others, we will not have world peace. Kumbaya one-liners. There lies before us, if we choose, continual progress in happiness, knowledge, and wisdom. Shall we, instead, choose death, because we cannot forget our quarrels? We appeal as human beings, to human beings, remember your humanity and forget the rest. Bertrand Russell, 1950 Nobel laureate in literature. The awareness that we are all human beings has become lost in war and through politics. Albert Schweitzer, 1952 Nobel Peace Prize, medical missionary, theologian and musician in Africa. Universal brotherhood is the only solution for the well-being and progress of the people around the world. Gianni Zail Singh, former President of India. We are made for togetherness. We are made for fellowship. We are different precisely to know our need of one another. Archbishop Desmond Tutu, 1984 Nobel Peace Prize. If we focus on the human being, we are also moving to a unification. Fang Lizzi, astrophysicist, democracy and human rights advocate, University of Arizona, Tucson. I always believe we are the same, we are all human beings. Wherever I meet people, I always have the feeling that I am encountering another human being, just like myself. The need for simple human-to-human relationships is becoming increasingly urgent. Today the world is smaller and more interdependent. His Holiness the Dalai Lama, 1989 Nobel Peace Prize. The enlightened efforts of generations of Democrats, the terrible experience of 2 world wars, and the evolution of civilization have finally brought humanity into the realization that human beings are more important than the state. Václav Havel, 2003 Gandhi Peace Prize, former President of the Czech Republic. If people look only to their own interests, our world will fall apart. Pope Benedict XVI. There remains a very real danger that terrorists could obtain a nuclear bomb or the materials to make one and turn an American city into a modern Hiroshima. Matthew Bunn, senior researcher, Harvard University's Project on Managing the Atom. Trust people like human beings. They'll act like human beings. Mohammad El-Baradei, 2005 Nobel Peace Prize, former Director General of the International Atomic Energy Agency. We, at NTI, do share your interest in achieving human unity in the world. Sam Nunn's Nuclear Threat Initiative Office. We can't get the genie back in the bottle. March 4, 2010. Lieutenant General Patrick O'Reilly, head of the U.S. Missile Defense Agency, on the growing missile threat facing the United States. I do wish you well in carrying forward the Human Unity Project. Bill Gates Sr., retired attorney and philanthropist. I have not found any worldwide project with greater potential for human betterment or with more favorable cost-benefit ratios than the Human Unity Project. Inamullah Khan, 1988 Templeton Prize recipient, former president of the World Conference on Religion and Peace. The human element. Nothing more fundamental. Nothing more elemental. Andrew N. Liveris, President and CEO, Dow Chemical. Finding newer, smarter, cleaner ways to power the world begins with the one energy we have in abundant supply, the power of human energy. David J. O'Reilly, Chairman and CEO, Chevron. Our task must be to free ourselves by widening our circle of compassion to embrace all living creatures and the whole of nature in its beauty. Albert Einstein, 1921 Nobel Prize in Physics, theoretical physicist. Nothing is too wonderful to be true if it be consistent with the laws of nature. Michael Faraday, English natural philosopher and scientist, 1791 to 1867. Agnotology makes us ask what is at stake when we don't know things that are plainly before our eyes. Sheila Jasanoff, Pforzheimer Professor of Science and Technology Studies, John F. Kennedy School of Government, Harvard University. Through our scientific genius, we have made this world a neighborhood. Now, through our moral and spiritual development, we must make of it a brotherhood. Martin Luther King Jr. 1964 Nobel Peace Prize, civil rights leader. The oneness of human beings is the basic ethical thread that holds us together. I am convinced that poor people are just as human as anyone else. They have just as much potential as anyone. Deep within every human exists a precious treasure of initiative and creativity waiting to be discovered. Muhammad Yunus, Nobel Peace Prize, 2006. People who live in the post-totalitarian system know only too well that the question of whether one or several political parties are in power, and how these parties define and label themselves, is of far less importance than the question of whether or not it is possible to live like a human being. Václav Havel, 2003 Gandhi Peace Prize. Without a belief in human unity, I am hungry and incomplete. Human unity is the fulfillment of diversity. It is the harmony of opposites. Norman Cousins, 1915 to 1990. I know no safe depository of the ultimate powers of the society but the people themselves. Thomas Jefferson. Human Unity Organizations. World Public Forum. Human Unity. San Francisco, California, 94112 USA. Human Unity at humanunity.org. humanunity.org. Fax 415-333-1995. Universal Peace Federation. upf.org. A world league of diverse social entities designed to promote the common good of each.